No, we're not live yet.
It's nice to see you, Toddy.
It's good to see you.
It's been a
It's good
long
to see you. It's
time.
going to take a second. I
That's
should
okay.
play the. I should find the intro real quick and play it. Just, so people will have time to come in. There we go. Here we go. Oops. Sasha Grace is in the house. Collaborated with Soulogy through the years. And I got to say something about you and people like you. There's a lot of people out there. There you go. There's a lot of people out there that, kind of had come out in social media. I guess we all have to one extent or another. And some of them share the private journey. And some of them shouldn't share the private journey. But your story in the last few months with, as I understand it, I'm picking up bits and pieces, and I think you sent me a message or there was a comment. So you basically found yourself homeless, and you were chronicling that. I believe you at least made a couple of posts in regard to what your journey was like. So I'm anxious to hear about that. But other than that, how have you been doing? What's happening? Might be the same thing, same question.
I'm probably, actually, funnily enough, I'm probably the best I've ever been. It's been, obviously it's been a journey of surrender. And it's been probably, mid-January, I was asked to leave where I was living. And so, at a time when, Byron Bay is basically getting slammed with the wealthy and the people from the cities because of Corona, everyone just wants to move there. And it's kind of, trying to turn into a mini Hollywood. So, rents are going up, an extra 100, a couple of hundred a week. If you have an animal or a pet, everyone says no pets. So I've got my little dog. And so I was trying to knock on all of these doors and trying to talk people into my beautiful dog. And I found this verbatim just coming out of my mouth constantly, for months, well, my dog's beautiful. He doesn't smell. It's like, he's not even a dog. And, and then at some point I was like, I know I'm looked after. I know because of my work, I'm completely held and looked after. So if there's no open doors going on here, then there's something perfect about that. And I have to sort of maybe surrender to that and step into, what I'm being called to do here. I bought myself a van 2 weeks before I had to move out. I'd made this thing in my head that I would do that because I was aware that there was, a lot of homeless people, a lot of the locals who were getting kicked out here, back there in Byron. And so I bought a van and I tried the van for a while, but it was constantly raining. And so then I sort of rented places here and just short-term places. And eventually I found myself in a little bush shack on the mountains, in the mountains, with no kitchen sink. I've got no kitchen sink here, but I don't actually care because I do my washing up to this incredible view. And
You should show people the view.
yeah, okay. Oh, that's, yeah, well, I thought I
You
was
should.
live when I was doing
Yeah,
it. Okay,
yeah.
here it is.
It's incredible.
It's called Misty Mountain. I don't know. Hang on, let me just. Misty Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that pond. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So we're surrounded in a beautiful caldera of mountains here. It's called Yukai. And the people here are just really, really lovely. You know, it's almost like every step has been perfectly laid out, and because I'm choosing to see it that way, that's how it is. You know, it's all been a gain for me.
Yeah.
The last place I rented just for 19 days, I went from a place near here down to suburbia. And it was a gorgeous studio and it was lovely, but there was no nature around. And you know, you've got like all this politics going on with people around the area and people living in their boxes and this whole boxy type of energetic that I at the point of my expansion right now, I'm not meant to be in that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been led here for that reason, so I can sing and dance and play my music and be loud and be free and not and be away from that. I was really just finding that, you know, the worlds are splitting, you know,
Yeah. You know, people talk about two streams. I've said that. That's how I've seen it. But now I almost see like there's three streams. There's this stream that's you get flashes of. That's, you could call it 5D. Like it's coming in, and there's of course the 3D, and then there's like this other place, which is like I'm balanced, and it's fleeting at times as well.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I just listened. I was like, look, you know, just surrender. And I came here previously, and I stayed in a place for 8 days, and then I found myself driving away, celebrating the fact that I realized I didn't need this illusion of the four walls, and that I'd kind of overcome that fear, because I'm feeling really whole in me now. I'm just feeling very embodied. I'm you know, my masculine's holding me and my feminine is receiving from me, and that's enough of home for me to have. I'm home where I am, and I think that was the lesson. That was what I was being shown in the surrender of this situation. And instead of, you know, back there, all the locals are still advertising themselves, and they're, you know, it's this sort of, and everyone's tense, and you know, and it's like you can either keep battling that, or you can actually just turn around and fly the other way. And go, I just need to do this.
See ya. Bye bye. Yeah, and
Exactly.
so I guess somewhere in those three streams, and I don't even know what I'm talking about, but somewhere in those three streams is what you're describing. Which again, I can say I've had flashes. I don't even know. This is thought provoking, but like where you're in the flow and it doesn't really make sense. You're like, even like the calm, you know, in the center of the hurricane kind of thing, where there's this symmetry where the non-physical parts coming into, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd like to know, like, what has your, you know, what have your activations, dimensional experiences, downloads, channelings, what does that look like during this period? Huh?
Oh, you know, it's been so divine. I think that's the other thing. You know, I was being guided to here because the expansion was happening so vastly, you know, with this next level of embodiment for me.
And your human was just doing fine the whole time too, right?
Yeah, because I've trained for this. I've
Okay.
trained for this. You know,
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? I've
Yeah.
trained for it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
my humans. It's all kind of being integrated. But I mean, look, I'll give you an example. I did a session on a really beautiful friend the other day, or it was probably about 2.5 weeks ago now, actually, and it's so beautiful because I'm getting to help people remove the whole program in a 3-hour session. And towards the end of the session, I basically hold space for them to go into the core belief after I've found the conglomerate of beliefs. Then I get shown the root of the vine, which is the core belief, and then I get them to wake that up. And that's when they get a chance to go into their trauma. But interestingly enough, no matter how unconscious someone appears to be, they all have a natural intelligence to be able to go through that. And all I'm doing is holding space for them to go into something they've resisted, not just in one lifetime, but over thousands of lifetimes. And so once I've held space for them to go into every aspect, I get them to expand it out when they've gone into all the bits of trauma, and then switch that off, right? And so what happens in that moment where I'm holding space for them to do that is all the galactics start locking in around us, right? And it's just divine. And I literally sit there first, I'm in tears, because it's divine love. It's next level divinity. And this last time I was doing this with my beautiful friend Grace, I was getting worked on, and I'd actually put out to have a healing before this, during the session, and it was actually Yeshua, and I felt he was working on my legs, right? I was getting all these rushes in my legs. Whew. And then, so I've been suffering with restless legs for probably about 10 years now, which has really been in the way of me being able to sleep. And I have not experienced restless legs ever since.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's thought-provoking what you're talking about too, because I'm just reflecting on the energy that I've been around, these last, whatever, 2, 3, 4 months, because I feel like it really kicked up in December. But it's like, I wonder if that's where we're getting to, just holding space for each other, all of us. You know what I mean? I mean, it would only make sense that infinite intelligence is expanding through us as we keep connecting from our intentions. So it would only make sense that we all, in a sense, become quieter, because really, more than anything, I think that's what holding space is.
Oh, as always, you just hit the nail on the head. That's a total mic drop, Todd. The more I step back and allow them to lead, that's all I do. That's all I really need to do, is step back and allow my clients to lead. And the divine intelligence that they have that leads them into their self-mastery is a part of their teacher, right? Because it teaches them, well, look what you can do. Look how powerful you are. I'm not here to take that off you. I'm not here to say, I'm here to heal you. I'm here to hold space for you to heal yourself, so you can witness your power in going into the absolute trauma and then switching it off. And then the program's gone. And so then that human walks back to divine love, which was our origination, before we were screwed with by the reptilians, before this matrix was put in. And so that in itself is a journey, and I walk with many who want me to, hand in hand. Some of them don't, some of them just go on their way, and some clients, they give me feedback constantly. I'm doing a lot of work with people with addictions at the moment, with food addictions, so we switch off that program. And then, obviously there's a bit of mentoring that comes with that. Like, for example, a food addiction, you don't just guide them to take the bad food away. You guide them to replace that food with things that are going to excite you. So it's not something that's you're feeling you need to rebel from eventually. You're actually putting back in instead of just taking away. And I've got one extraordinary client who's doing so beautifully in England, and she's just sending me so much amazing stuff. And she was ready to go. She was ready to take pills and go. And now she's had this extraordinary transformation. So I just feel, I'm a vessel for this work, and
yeah,
and it's just an honor,
So I mean, that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of powerful stories and powerful collaborations occurring all over the world.
Yeah.
And then we have to step into the other world, at least with one foot. like for instance, if you're living where you're living and you have to go into town, because obviously from what you're saying, it's a very oppressive, very controlling environment, right? I mean, how do you deal with going into town and that type of thing?
It's not really, look, Byron itself isn't. Byron and Mullumbimby is quite beautiful. It's just that if you happen to be in the mix of not being able to find a home, you're in there.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So that for me, because I was in that mix, it's like you're very vulnerable to all the wealthy that have taken over, and you keep, However, yesterday I went into a place near here called Murwillumbah, and that had very dense energy, and there's a lot of people wearing masks, and I could really feel it. I was like, oh, okay. I smiled at this woman and she just grimaced. And I'm like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah, like a day in
not the day.
Like a day in the life of a super empath, right? In the middle of a quarantine mandate, mask mandate.
Yeah, because that's coming into Byron at the moment. Literally over the last couple of days, we had a couple of people who supposedly had the virus, and so
yeah, I heard that.
So Queensland's just been closed again, and they're asking for masks mandates here and there. So I just feel like it's perfect.
So have you had any galactic visitations in the last few weeks?
They're constantly working with me. It's constant. Like they're consistently with me, especially when I'm doing the work. They surround that being who is about to clear this matrix. They get ready, and it's just this divinity, and I can see them, I can feel them, and I can see the colors. And then the moment they clear that matrix, boom, they're allowed to work on them, because the matrix gets in the way of them just being able to have a natural source exposure to these divine beings. So
do you have any like intel as to what's been happening, like January, February, March? Do you have any feeling, or what's your experience been like? What's happening on a collective level? Do you like from an energetic level, do you get that kind of intel?
Yeah, I mean, I see and feel it. I can see that there is it's everything I knew. And it reminds me of when I was 9 years old, and this is very creepy. I'm going to say, I used to say this really creepy thing, and it was the ones that survive will know, right? The ones that will survive will know. And I was a child saying that. I didn't, I was already in my knowing, but I didn't really understand what I was saying. And it seems to me we are having a dramatic split for those that have wanted to stay in the who haven't wanted to access their divine knowing, and then making choices in that, compared to the ones who have chosen to step away from that matrix and really step into their knowing and their truth. We can see that happening with the vaccine, and so
I think we met about 2 years ago. And it's interesting that when I go back, and I don't go back to, certain times, especially these last couple, 2-3 years. But from that point, like from the energy of 2019 to now, on a personal level, how much of your focus was on yourself? Like, I guess integrating things, converging polarities, dealing with shadow, dealing with unconscious shadow, unconscious programming.
Yeah, look, I was one of those, well, we haven't spoken since before Corona, have we? So I was shown, just after Corona hit, I gave someone, Amanda, a singing lesson, which meant that I was very, I was sort of really activated. And I got home, and I saw all these different colored sparks around me, and I realized, oh, hang on a sec, something's going on. I'm being visited. And I was being visited by these galactics I wasn't used to having around me. Like, I was seeing green sparks and colors I wasn't used to seeing. And then it was like what they did was they took a filter off me. That's how it felt. And they said to me, do you think we would have forsaken you? Right, because obviously Corona had hit, and we're all a bit like, oh God, what's going on? And they said, do you think we would have forsaken you? And they said, we've got your back. And then they showed me the man that I didn't really think very highly of, and that was Trump. And they showed me Trump, and then they said, they talked about Corona as being, warfare, and that he was working for them. He was working for the Galactics. And they said that they have traveled to the future with him, and he travels to the future with them. And they showed me that because we are stepping into that, the planet is now in the fifth density frequency. Whatever the cabal does, it's going to work against them thousandfold, right? And we've seen that in the steps that have been taken. Like whatever they try to do, it works against them thousandfold, and it works towards the light. The light's benefits. So, and that is the reaction of this divine mother energy. So they can't win whatever they try to do, right? And so that's what they showed me. And then from then I was guided to do something I didn't expect to do, and that was to be one of the forerunners online that was promoting, Trump, and that was their, speaking truth up against many people that abused me and that came in. So it was a really, I think I trained for that already, because I think for me, when you're up against that sort of attack, there's a way to deal with them, and I think one of the ways I dealt with them was by thanking them for their perspective.
Thank you for the mirrors.
Exactly. And so they just get gandied. I sort of call it the Gandhi approach. And so there's nothing that then they just get to see their own reflection in that space, maybe. So yeah, that was
and the crazy thing too is, and this is really, to me, said to myself, is like, you're not who you were a day ago. I mean, like we're transforming in many, many ways, and we can't forget that it's also somewhere in this blend of intellect and intelligence and emotion and human. There's a great seed of, that experience, being born of what we're born of, made in the image.
Yeah. And that I'm really feeling that now, in this place of stillness. Even here, we were flooded in for a week, and I just arrived. I didn't have a chance to go and get food because I just got here, and then all of a sudden, the first night we were flooded in, and I found myself doing a random healing on a woman in the community here, and then the next day they all came and they brought me food, and it was so beautiful. And I was like, wow, I've often thought about living in a community, and this sort of guidance that I'm being given to sort of go here and go there, and I'll find myself there, and all of a sudden we'll start working on this person, and I'm just being sent. It's sort of this, it's this interesting place where I'm not alone now. I've got these big beings working through me.
Yeah. So I had this thought today, or whatever you want to call it, because I don't know what's going on right now. It's just like massive mix streaming of all directions, coming in, going out. But I had a couple of visions from the past, and they were both in my journey. One was in Dallas, Fort Worth, at this 60-acre Boy Scout camp on this lake, where they torn everything else around it and turned it into, suburbia. But it was there, and then one other place in the mountains in Arkansas. And in that moment, I realized what I was realizing, or being shown, or whatever you want to call it, that I don't know if it was going to be, you're going to be remembering places that you went on the earth and reconnected, or it was actually pulled back an aspect of yourself that lived there, right? It was like a very soulful kind of thing. And I don't even know why I brought that up. Sorry. Did I interrupt you? I didn't figure out what we were
No,
talking about.
it's perfect. It's perfect. I mean, activations. Where I am right now is in between. I'm in a mountain caldera by Mount Wollumbin, which is probably the most powerful mountain in this whole shire. It's a masculine mountain, and it's just divine. I mean, you've got these crystal clear rivers flowing under it, and crystals everywhere. And it's very powerful. And they say it's a man's mountain. So women that have climbed this mountain who've say been pregnant or something have often miscarried. But you know, we're in between Sphinx Rock and Mount Warning, or Mount Wollumbin. It's got two names, which it's a very strong Aboriginal area, and I feel that I'm meant to be here. There's some healing that is going on even on this land. When I hear about the stories of some of the misogyny of the masculine here, it sort of makes sense to me, you know, why I've been sent here.
Yeah.
But
That's what I was leading up to. I didn't remember the question, but it was basically, do you know, there's these places like right back here, there's a portal for me. And do you feel like that place, like there's a portal for you that you're aligning with, or a series of portals? Or
yes, and I feel that I'm creating portals. So my not my theory, but what I've been shown, you know, very directly is that we're all portals of energy, and that we have a responsibility to that portal of energy. You know, for example, what beliefs are we projecting on someone else that they're going to become, or are we here to actually purify that portal and purify those belief systems so that we can, you know, when you purify the whole matrix, when you clear all those belief systems, the eventual result is to travel through the world with no judgment, and so without that judgment there is just an expansion of love, and it's a very different reality to be in that expansion of love without that judgment.
Yeah.
You know, when we project judgment on someone, it's always because we're projecting that, we're doing that judgment to ourselves. So it teaches us about what we're judging ourselves for, if we're awake and if we're willing to do the work and, you know, and take responsibility. So
you've been in the community for quite some time, and I know you know a lot of people, you're connected to a lot of people around the world. Do you see, in regard to that as a whole, as a team, as a community, as an earth, whatever, that we've made some progress in embodying, not just knowing that, but embodying it and really put it into action? You see people taking more on themselves and less externalization?
very much so. Yeah, very, very much so. I'm also seeing a wave of something very different to what I've seen before, and that is, you know, the ones with the open hearts, right, that were born into the whole reptilian existence and went, what the hell am I doing here? And these open hearts have really suffered, like you and like I, in this external world. What I'm seeing now is those open hearts are really coming together. We're coming together now to support each other, and we are becoming the leaders of this next level that is happening on the planet now. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. But
I did. It's been a pretty it's, what is it, Wednesday or Thursday?
It's Wednesday here. It's Tuesday for you there.
Yeah, the shows the last few days have been like, and so like now I feel like it's like it's been a long day, these 3 days or whatever it is. And,
yeah, you've
like,
been on fire, Todd. You just don't stop.
But going back to what you were saying, and then again, maybe we're all beating at the same vibration. It just doesn't look that way. There's always that mystery part of it, right?
Look, and you're so right. You know, when I go into with each client, you know, the beliefs are generic. and it's the same deal for everyone. Everyone is protecting this feeling of a fear of being alone or not being lovable or not being enough. And there is this generic energetic that every human holds, and the opposite of that is a reparenting. When we clear that program, then we learn to reparent ourselves and that child so that the child can really begin to glow without the judgment from us, the self-judgment. And so the theme of self-parenting that's happening when I look around me of people who have had their awakening, who are learning how to reclaim their sovereignty back by honoring that divine child and feeding that child thank yous, and feeding that child well dones, and feeding that child I love yous, and I know that was hard for you, instead of the chatter. I mean, this is coming from a person who used to experience depression, and I hated myself, right, because of how I was brought up. So we can do it. We can do it. We can overcome depression. We can overcome chronic fatigue. We can overcome these things. Chronic fatigue it's just belief systems, right? That are holding negative energy. So our intention is so powerful now, and what I'm noticing at this time, as divine creators in this new energetic, what we ask for comes instantly. So if you don't know how to clear your program, ask for it, right? Just put it out there and say, this is
That's
what
true.
I want.
That's true.
And boom, it's going to be there, right? Just like that. It's working instantaneously now.
If you got to find it, you got to connect to it. But I agree with that. I think if you have a desire and you ask specifically, I don't know how it comes on linear time, but I know that works. It's for me. It's like, I probably don't ask for enough, but I'm getting better at it, I guess. And I don't know. I feel like it's a form of gratitude as well. So do you ever get get together with people like locally? I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty cool area, even given all the rich moving in.
Well, again, I've moved away from Byron, and there's been a lot of requests to go and party and do this and go to this. And
I thought this place you found was like out.
This is an hour away from where I was living, from the
So
Byron Shire.
in Byron Bay, was there a lot of people that were cool? I mean, a lot of people that were white.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of beautiful people, but I am being really guided to not step anywhere. I think I must be in some sort of cocoon phase, so I'm being given the next level of expansion. And when you're going through the next level and you go through that cocoon phase, and which means you're required to stay away from situations. Yeah.
I'm in one right now. One right now, and I'm trying to do a Soulogy Fest with our team, put together Soulogy Fest and doing these shows. And I don't want to do people. No, I think what you're talking about is the solitude that a lot of people are finding. I mean, it's working. I think it's working. People are doing it naturally or not.
Yeah, I think there's a real inward process needing to happen for a lot of people, because the world out there can get very jagged. I mean, I just put a post up a couple of days ago and I threw it on a few groups, and there was quite a bit of attack that went on. And
what were you talking about? What were you talking about?
Oh, I don't know if I should bring it up here because it's pretty political.
Hey, you know what? It's a late night Soul Speaks. We're just being ourselves. Everybody's relevant. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it was wanting to choose what I considered to be the highest timeline, but many others didn't, and that's okay. That of the vaccination being banned worldwide.
Oh, I saw that post.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with somebody throwing up. So let's throw up a prayer. And who doesn't want to throw up the prayer? Just don't say anything and go on down the road. Otherwise, you're just going to show your ass. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all learning.
Yeah, it's a sensitive topic for many who are not in that stream, of what I know and what I can only really speak for myself in that, but it is a sensitive topic for many. So
yeah,
on every level know that it's not a good thing. And that's you know, I'm going to own that and claim that as mine, even though,
Hey, you know, everybody has to stand in their own truth, and
yeah,
people that speak their truth, I got to hand it to them. Now, there's people I don't resonate with, but I respect the hell out of them for just putting it out there. I mean, you know, you're really teaching people when you're yourself, and you're you know, I'm not saying everybody needs to go do, you know, get a megahorn and do it, but I think you're really teaching people because you're showing them in the flesh, in the moment, given all the energies and everything, a person who's trying their best to be, you know, true to themselves, right? I mean, I respect people that do that. And people do it other ways too. They do it other ways too. I don't take anything away from other people. But I think we teach through what we observe. And what we observe is what we're mirroring to each other. And just like you said, thank you to all the people that attacked you. You know, some of us have many mirrors every day coming at us.
Yeah, it's a very powerful thing to do that. It also shows them, when, you know, thanking them for their perspective, it shows them that that's all it is. Right? It's a perspective, just as mine is a perspective. So we don't need to war about this, because I honor your perspective here, right? And they go, oh, okay, I don't know what to do.
Well, it's true though, you know. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I had this thing today, and it was like, you know what? You don't need to say anything. Because I saw this post, and I never write comments, but it was a friend of mine who likes to stir the soup. I thought I'd join in. I never comment on anything. But I said, you know, when you can be in the 0 point, and I said it in terms of like when you see this polarity, that polarity as one in the same light with yourself, then maybe what we have to say will be worth listening to. And so that was kind of on my mind, because I projected by, you know, making that comment, and then I went into it, and it was kind of like, you know, if you really know who you are, you don't have to say who you are, just be who you are. And if that's the case, you're not going to say anything about it. Your energy is going to speak for itself. I mean, I think this is seriously going to make an impact on the way we communicate with each other. Less said, the more you're aligned, because it is telepathic and it is pure feeling and energy.
Yeah, so true. And, you know, I really relate to that, Todd. I've been through a very long period of silence and stillness, and needing to honor that. For me, the opposite of that was me feeling when I first got homeless, and I was in a van, and I wasn't and I was just feeling really unfocused. I felt like I was spinning in circles, and I was discombobulated. So I really needed to go into a place where stillness, you know, it's a very personal journey. I don't feel to expose that often. I don't feel to expose a lot of my journey, and you know, there's no wrong or right with any of this. I honor people who share about what their journey is, and sometimes I think, should I be doing that? And then, but it's just really just felt exactly what you said. You know, just to honor this. You just this isn't about.
But you do share it, and that's my point with people. Is there any expression? I mean, any comment, any post. I mean, we learn from each other. That's all there is to it. We learn to find ourselves through each other, because we know it's not the other. I'm not trying to rhyme.
Yeah. But you're doing a good job. Yeah, so true.
So, but you know, in that personal energy, what would you call it? That personal illumination, that personal projection into the collective is human. You know what I mean? It's like when the human goes, okay, I'm going to join the party too.
Yeah, for me, I do a lot of quietness these days. I haven't really been doing any lives or anything, but if I do put something out, it comes from the depths of my being, you know, like this is true and this has got to be done now. It's like and I don't even really think about it. I just go blah, 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 put it out there, and it's surprising how much impact that has. And I always get surprised because I really wasn't thinking too much about it, other than I got a big it's time now. For me, I can't put anything out that's not authentic on any level. So yeah. But you've been putting out some amazing stuff. You always do.
Well, it's but everything's a journey. I was just thinking today, because you can't do something every day. We all have our own, what we follow or whatever we're doing, and not expect to see opportunities for expansion, resistance, drudgery. I mean, any and all things that the ego can, you know what I mean? And I had the thought today. I thought, okay, I've kind of leveled up a little bit, and I don't mean that in what the program is or how well the program does, but in myself. Like, I felt like that. I don't know, like I merged with it or something. I don't know how to explain it, but I think, these are the kind of experiences like what I just described, what you talked about, being in solitude, going within. I mean, these are the stories. These are the stories. People are all doing it, and they're taking control of their lives by being responsible and just being good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what comes up for me when you say that is a very common, very generic belief that most people have is I'm not enough, right? Now that belief also expands into you are not enough, where I am is not enough. So there's this constant need for this external thing to fill up this not enoughness. Now, if you choose to go and really look into that belief, you'll find that you are creating escapism from the present moment. And so when you clear that belief, all of a sudden, from my experience, I could finally land into where I was and let that be enough. I didn't have to fill my moments up with going out and doing this, or having to do this, or having FOMO about this, and so it's clearing the program brings so much relief and relaxation and ease and grace and presence, right? Because all of these beliefs are designed to take us away from the power of now, which is where we can eventually become these omnipresent beings, which is our origination, which is our birthright to step into.
Yeah, I'm looking for the things that are designed that put us in the power of now. I'm tired of playing those other ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think we've made a lot of progress. I think we're making fast progress, and I think there's more clarity. And I think, at least what I have to remind myself, and when I even look at things, because of the fact that I might compare myself to something, right? Like to what everyone else is doing or whatever, is that I just can't take myself too seriously. Like there's a certain level of something beyond surrender where you are childlike and you're also an adult. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm actually in this. I've been in this hell, but it's turning into a playground. If I'll just chill the F out and stay in my lane and live and let be and pursue my heart, something like that.
Yeah, beautiful. And that, we know that is the third energy, that child energy, so that when we're there, finally, when we're in that embodiment of the masculine and feminine, that ignites this playful child where, you look around, you go, hang on, everyone's taking everything so seriously.
Right.
Chill the F out. It's all okay.
Yeah, isn't that the truth, man? That's a great metaphor. That's a great metaphor. It's like, just how like in modern day, you got, two parents in the den, the kids on the floor. Parents wake up out of, mutual nightmares that they were sharing at an etheric level, and they're wake up frightened and screaming at each other or whatever. And the kid's like, hey, man, snap out of it.
Yeah, chill out. I've got a really good thing that I've been doing lately, and I want to share it with the world.
All right. Let's hear it.
It's dancing with toilet paper.
Okay. Oh my God.
So you get a couple of meters. You get a couple of meters of toilet paper. You find some land. Put the music on. Naked's better, Todd. And you go for it, and it's so much fun because the toilet paper moves really beautifully, especially at night. It lights up to the moon, and I've been taking it to parties. You know, I'm giving people meters of toilet paper.
So that's how you're making a living these days. Okay. So I got to tell you a true story. I went to a pool hall a few years ago. It was a big pool hall, and the restrooms were at the back, and I was in the back pool tables on the other side of the restrooms. So this lady comes out of the women's restroom. Her husband's arm is around her. They're walking out of the pool. They're walking to the front, which is way down there. And she literally had, I don't know what a meter is, but I would have to say about 10 yards, like three meters. And it was like a bride's train. It was like the bride's train. And me and my friend were just sitting there looking at it and couldn't believe nobody said anything to them. I don't know if they saw him or what, you know. But yeah, that just reminded me of that.
Oh,
thank you. I thought you didn't share your personal private life. Thank you for sharing that story. It was and that's another thing. I think we need to laugh. You know, laughing is a barometer of our balance. It really is. No matter what, if you can't laugh, and look, you just went through some tough times. A lot of people have gone through some tough times the last 3 years. You know, as they follow their guidance the last few years. And, you know, you stick it out.
You know, I think the gold, you know, if we can get to the point in life where we can understand that everything is in divine perfection, everything that's happening to us is imperfection, then when there's moments that come up, when these so-called obstacles that come up to possibly elude us, we can understand that if we get that it's imperfection, then we can use it rather than go against it. You know, we can rise to it. We can step up on the obstacle and use it instead of let it get in front of us and discourage us. And that's the beauty of, you know, becoming a sovereign alchemist is learning how to, but before this thing gets to you and hits you, you're already alchemizing it. You've already transformed it into an opportunity. Living life like that in that training, and we can train ourselves to do that, is going to take us to the highest possible version of ourselves as quickly as possible, and take us to, you know, the place that we deserve to be. For example, you know, a little humble bush shack in the mountains, you know, with no kitchen sink, which I love.
Hey, there's a lot of people finding themselves in strange places with powerful portal energy, you know, because I mean, you're right. Everyone is a portal. Everything is a portal. It's, you know, but there are places that have you would have to, at a minimum, describe it as residual holy energy or something, and other degrees of dark and light. I will say that. Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey, right? Even if you look back the last couple of years when we've known each other, I mean, think about what it was like in 2019 as opposed to today. It's warp speed.
Yeah, we've had to look into the darkness. We've had to look into the fear. We've had to overcome. We've had to make our choices, and we've had to stand strong in them. I mean, everyone's different, but you know, it's been a collective wake up for many people. You know, this massive purification, and you know what the Cabal decided to create a depopulation agenda that accidentally woke everyone up. And how fabulous. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, they put everybody into solitude. Made everybody stay home and talk to their family,
And
but they never.
also, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people, lost what they had put meaning into, which was the whole being
Yeah.
busy thing, instead of actually, well, who are you without this? Now who are you, and what are you choosing to become without that crutch that you've had to avoid who you really are. So, yeah.
And even if you look at history, if you look at the 1930s, right, with the Great Depression, think about that program that was put on the people and the way the people took it. Now think about where we're at today and what level of oppression won't be called out or that we won't take. I just saw in Australia, what's his name, Scott Morrison, the prime minister.
Yeah.
So there was a whole slew of sexual misconduct charges in his administration, and there was all this hell raising because they didn't do anything about it. You probably know more than I do. But what was interesting is he appointed a bunch of women to substantial cabinet posts to try to appease, right? But this is the kind of the same action reaction, like you're talking with the intentions of the virus. I mean, yeah, that's at a biological level, but at a spiritual level, at an energetic level, you just put everybody into their homes to be alone, to think about their life. You took things away that they thought were their identity. The kids got pulled from school. So their energy was free and clear. Could you imagine having like 4 or 5 kids like I did when I was younger? And they're all around the house in this type of energy and they don't have to go to school. It'd be electric. You'd have to peel me off the ceiling. But, I mean, I think we've made a lot of progress.
Yeah, we have made a lot of progress. And, it's helped many of us find what truth really is. And I think that has been a really big thing for the collective. Well, what is truth? Let's look into it. Are we going to avoid the rabbit hole? Are we going to avoid the darkness that's actually really going on? Or are we going to choose to look into it? And, for me, being in that forerunner position I was talking about, where I was online and I had to step back into 4D to kind of, be a truth shower. I don't know. It was good because it ignited the warrior in me that knew that I was ready for this. That many of us have been trained for this time. Many of us have been trained as warriors of light to step into that. And I know that I mean, before it came through, the corona thing came through, I was at one point, it was like I was getting armed up, and I was, Kiara Kora, my avatar that I work with, was getting armed up, and I'm like, wow, there's a war coming, something's happening here. And
did you put animal blood on your face and stuff? War paint? I'm serious. No, I get what you're saying because I've heard a lot of people talk about some intense experiences, like a call to arms.
Yeah, it's interesting you say the war paint because, I found myself organizing a freedom march in Byron and initiating it. And we had over 1,000 people march for the freedom, for the anti-vax. This was going on maybe 4 months ago now. And
that's when you did a live and almost got arrested.
I never got arrested.
Wasn't it? Huh? Did you get arrested?
No, one of people did. There was 5 women. There ended up being 5 women, which is interesting because it's a number of change. And the cops jumped on, all 6 of them jumped on her, which is pretty, and everyone was very peaceful, and they were just pulling people out, So it was really. I've had women try to grab me to be the front line of these things, and I've always avoided it, and I didn't want to be a part of that, but somehow I'm like, bigger than me.
Anything can happen during the apocalypse. Anything can happen, all right? But what I'm interested in is like to be in this energy, and I know you, and I could easily see myself, in a situation. I'm not judging at all. But I'm thinking about you, like you were telling the story, and you're going through that. I'm going through that, and then I come out of it, and I kind of get back into whatever. What would that feel like? Like what would I like in respect to what's the universe showing me? What am I trying to show myself? I mean, that's crazy to be 6 of them, and they jump on one lady.
I know. Poor thing. She was very brave. I mean, you know, she was very brave, but it did affect her, you know. And what it did was it triggered this. It was very peaceful up until that moment, and then all the men went no, and they started running after the cops, and they were, you know, it got really kind of, and there were kids screaming, like it got pretty emotional and pretty full on. But you know, boots on the ground, you know. Boots on the ground. I mean, that's what this last year has been about. And whether I've liked it or not, I've been there at the front. You know, so sometimes you just get taken, and you just end up there. And all I had to do was light the match for that thing, and everyone was ready, right? So, you know, we think we can't do something, we think we can't be a part of change, but you know, sometimes all you have to do is light that match, and everyone's ready. You know, you don't have to do it on your own, but maybe you need to make the decision that you're powerful enough to create change. And we can do that. We can create change. You know, one person.
Yeah, that's right.
With the help of many.
Starting with myself, for myself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm flabbergasted at least a few times every day. I'm like, okay, I thought I knew something. Oh, now I don't know anything. Cycles like that. But it's cool. It's cool. So do you want to do anything before we head out of here? It's up to you. I'm not attached.
Yeah, well, I've got my looper. I could kind of do a bit of a looper jam, throw myself into the deep end. But that means I've got to do it on the spot and hope that it all works, because it might not.
What's a loop? What's a looper?
I've got like a looper.
Oh, a looper.
I've got a looper ad, and I can loop things. The only issue is that it's just the sound online. I'm not sure how well it's going to go. Right. So it may cut out. Last time it was better to do it without headphones, wasn't it? To sound.
I don't remember. What do you mean?
It was a long time ago.
It would depend on what your mic is. You know, actually, I mean, what are your choices? If your choices of microphones are this and the computer, you're better off with this. That I can tell you.
Do I have one headphone? Oh, how do I do this? I don't know.
Oh, because I got you. Yeah, you would just have one headphone in.
Well,
actually, you wouldn't have to have a headphone in. Well, I guess I don't know. It's up to you.
Let me sing something in the mic, and just let me know if the sound is cancelling out, or maybe we can ask the viewers how they're going with that.
Okay.
Oh.
1 2 1 2. Like birds. Chirp chirp.
How's that? Can you hear that?
Yeah, that was very nice.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just write something on the spot, and then I'm going to sing over the top of it, and then I'll see if you can jump in and do something over the top of that too. Does that work?
I guess I'm going to decide when it's presented, because I'm not sure I followed you. I think I have an idea what you're going to do. Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. That's how it happened last time. So that was cool. Last time was cool.
Let's see how we go. If I get the timing wrong, I'm going to have to start again.
That's okay. Take your time.
All right.
Show your soul and show your ass. It's all the same thing.
I don't think I'll show my ass.
No, I meant figuratively speaking. We've already had enough toilet paper discussions. And somebody in the audience said that she does it on purpose, like to play as a prank on people.
Oh, I think I saw something like that. That's very naughty.
So this is the community for you.
Oh, it's so lovely to have everyone here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. All right. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop it.
That's
Okay,
nice.
let me just try it again because I've got to get the timing right. I got the timing wrong.
All right.
Oh, 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 oh. Okay. Sorry, just get there. We are rising. No, I feel you. I feel you. We are the light, so reach in and be your bride, be your bride. Todd?
Sacred wisdom of fallen rocks. Finding out what we are and what we're not. Some like it cold, some like it hot. But now we're going mainstream. 0 Point field. It's not too far, it's so near. We've all done so good. We're all from the same hood. This path was once healingly harsh, rugged, but now it's a straight line. And we look side by side. We see our brothers and our sisters all in the same soul cadence, same soul glide. Darkness got nowhere to hide. We're getting a hold of this ride. We're starting to rise, rise and rise. Truth will always live, and lies have seen their demise.
Brothers and sisters, let's join as one. 'Cause we are more powerful than the sun. Brothers and sisters, here we are radiant. So when you're feeling down, remember who you are. We are here to hold you. That's right. Let's rise. So let's rise. We join as one. Let's join as one. let's join as one. So let's join as one.
Can I keep going? You want to keep going? All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Sovereignty is soup. Surrender can erase. Tap your heels, Dorothy. Standing room only. It's the holiest place. Take the mask off. See the world's face. Surrender to embrace. Search with outer space. All coming down to my holy whole face. Circle of the sisters. Circle of the brothers. We know this game. We all know one another. Thank you.
Rise into the high. Oh, you are love, you are love. Yeah, you are love. Brothers and sisters, let's join hands. And here we stand for our land, holding each other, remembering our joy. Here we are, here we are. Rise, let's rise. Rise, together now, together now.
Man, that's a cool machine. And thank you, beautiful, beautiful, beloved, brave sister. Thank you. What was the name of that?
We wrote it on the spot, so let's figure out a name.
Are you serious? Did you?
Yeah.
I
That's what
I just ad-libbed. I mean, did you just made that up right now?
And did you hear what you said?
No, I don't. I have no idea what I said. None at all. Well, one part, the second time I came in, I started with a verse of something I've written, and then it went somewhere else. I don't know. So that was cool. I really enjoyed the first time that we did that. It was the same type of spontaneous thing. And I really, because that time it was your song you just made, and I pulled up some words of a rap I had, and it was very cool. But today was really cool. I really appreciate the opportunity to participate in something like that, because I really feel like that this is what's happening both at a physical level and energetic level. We are collaborating. We're all coming together. We're getting past the judgment. Our intentions are the same, and you can't F with the soul. You know what I
mean? Exactly.
But thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well said. Thank you.
I didn't mean to go on a rant.
No, that's fine. You're totally allowed to rant. You didn't rant at all, but you know what you just did in there was just gorgeous. It just hit me so very hard.
Well, you know, there's a lot of to be said for the silent time, for the privacy. You know, as we get away from linear time, that amount of what we refer to as linear time might be smaller, might be longer. I don't know, but I do think that there's something to be said, because there is a certain veil when we walk from our privacy into a Soulogy Fest, or into being on camera, or into whatever gathering. So there's some veils that I think are going to come down as we keep doing what we're doing, because it's like
that divine flow, just, you know, it's like throwing yourself into complete trust is, you know, it's a big deal. It's like, right, okay, here I am, I'm jumping off the cliff, it's just happening. I don't know where it's going to end up, but you know, and like what just came out of your mouth then was just so divine, and yeah, spontaneous is just such a beautiful gift, because it just comes from the air, you know.
It's the only way. You know what? That's the first time I've ever done that. I mean, I've done it a couple times, maybe 3-4 times, but like that was the first time I ever did it. Like, I didn't know we were
without,
going to do that. So I was like, I guess I'm
yeah,
doing this.
yeah.
But it was interesting. It was an interesting experience, and I really appreciate that. All right, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. By the way, we have let's see what his name is. Pete Evans. Do you know Pete Evans?
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but
Pete,
yeah, he's got.
yeah, Pete Evans, chef. He's coming on Friday.
Yay,
Yeah,
yay! Oh, that'd be
I didn't.
interesting.
He's evidently a pretty big guy, man. He's like,
Yeah,
I was
he's
checking
had
him
a
out today.
big journey. He's had a big journey with all of this stuff.
Wow. Yeah, I picked
Yeah,
up on that. I was looking at some of the headlines. I didn't really go into them, but it looked like he caught some heat, some
yeah,
serious heat at that. So, Sasha, it's good to see you.
so good to see you.
It's good to see you. It's good to collaborate with you. I really enjoyed that. We'll have to do some open mics. We'll have to do some
I
open
love
mics.
that. I love
Because there's like 3 other people that have been hitting me up about it. So what time is it over there? So like, okay.
It's 10:11, so we've got 3 ones
Okay,
here.
so
It's
like
10:11,
anytime
yeah.
between like let's say 9 and 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah,
Your time. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll hit you up. I'll let you know. I love you.
Perfect. Love you.
Peace out.
So